at 7 o'clock. We're waiting on the superintendent to get in here. So there he is.
I have a note from my mom.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome each and every one here tonight. Also, I'd like to recognize any veteran, even in the audience, who served our country. Would you all please stand, and our board members too, that served our country. Thank you all for serving. At this time, we'll please stand for the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment's silence, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Mr. Davidson. Second by Mr. Farrell. Those in favor, aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passed. Are there any additions to the agenda or any groups? Yeah, we got,
Field trip as well.
what we got about three? I think it's two.
Should be
We
three.
have two.
Three.
We have three additional field trips to be added to the consent agenda when we get to it next. They've already been signed off on and they're good to go. Would anyone like to remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion? If not, do we have a motion to approve it?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Joyner. Those in favor, aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passed. Dr. Combs, Superintendent update.
Well, my goal is always to not go as long as Billy. But tonight, I'm afraid I'm gonna beat it. Tonight, I'm gonna beat him. I got a few things to talk about, unless he has a surprise for me. In honor of the spirit of gratitude that tends to land in the month of November, I want to let all of you know how much I appreciate what you do for me, for my colleagues, and most importantly, for the children in the Tipton County school system. The months tend to run together, so let me remind you, and everyone else who may be listening, what has been and is being accomplished during the last 3.5 years under your leadership. So bear with me. A laptop for every student, teacher, SRO, and administrator, total $2,787,313. Infrastructure to support new device connectivity, $650,000. Additional classroom technology, $2,879,647. New roofs thus far, $5,925,387. Employee bonuses, $2,166,997. Employee raises, $2,811,221. Continually named the top workplace every year by the Commercial Appeal since 2016. 2 additional social workers for a total of 71,900. Labonner nurse in every school, 945,865 per year. Additional security enhancements, 1,819,970. Addition of new EPSOs. That's early post-secondary opportunities. Y'all know about all those. Culinary arts, digital agronomy, and welding, over $16,000. More instructional materials and texts, $3,431,387. HVAC upgrades and replacements, $406,144. LED school lighting upgrades, $413,629. Not including the pole lights, Ms. Belinda, at Drones Elementary, which should happen next week, hopefully. Bus camera and GPS updates, $151,527. 22 new buses for $2,048,437. Upcoming school bathroom renovations, $3 million. Nearing completion of our first ever 5-year capital improvement plan. Upcoming turf on high school football fields, $3,013,000. Upcoming stadium LED lighting, $1,003,809. Spring track resurfacing, $496,150. Fine arts budget increase from $45,000 annually to $150,000 annually, with more to come. Ag building projects, $1,050,000. Increase from 2,089 student EPSOs to 2,958 student EPSOs. Almost 1,000 more students getting college credit for coursework in the last 3.5 years. Instituted out-of-district transfers, which has increased in tuition 37,500 and added 429,800 in BEP funding. Majority, 86% in-person learning last year, when many schools were still hybrid. All in-person learning this year. A full year of growth during last year's period of learning loss across Tennessee, we showed a full year's growth. Graduated 2,327 seniors with a total of $64 million in scholarships. $225,000 in sidewalk and asphalt repair. And thanks to the good stewardship of our county government and to your good judgment, this has all been done without a single county tax increase. So for anyone to say that you haven't balanced spending without increasing the burden to our citizens would be, to coin a phrase, fake news. Thank you for all you do. We aren't done making this an amazing place for students, so stay tuned for more. So thank you for what y'all done for the last 3.5 years. You've done a great job, and our students are grateful, and so are our students and faculty. You'll also find in your folders a letter from a parent that she asked me to share with you, stating her gratitude for your endurance through the difficult and often unpopular decisions that you've had to make, especially over the last couple of years, some of which she has disagreed with the opinions that you've given, but she did want to say thank you for what you do, and so I included that in your packet, and want to say thank you for that letter to Miss Stephanie, who sent that to y'all. As of this morning, the COVID omnibus legislation had not been signed by the governor. However, as you know, he has announced that he plans to do so tomorrow. And I've double-checked twice today with the state legislature, and that is true. They do have a meeting set up with the press, and he is planning on signing that tomorrow. So, since this law will essentially override any local mandate, my intention is to make masks optional across the district for students, faculty, and visitors to the schools. As soon as he signs it tomorrow, it will be effective immediately. I feel like this is operational and under my authority. However, if you have any feedback, please let me know. And then we will also revise our website to reflect the new guidelines. Anybody have any questions about that? Y'all good? All right. I'm taking silence as good. Silence is golden. At this time, it is my honor to present the Tennessee School Board Association Board of Distinction designation to you for once again meeting the TSBA standard. This recognition extends from 2021 through 2023, so congratulations again. We'll put it up there with the other ones, but TSBA sent me to that, Mr. Director, and wanted me to make sure that I give you all that for the work that you've done and for all the hoops that you had to jump through to get there.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Combs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is everybody's plaque, everybody, the whole board and the whole system here.
Yes, sir.
It's even got our names on there.
It does. It does.
If it wasn't for this, all of our teachers and everybody, hey, we wouldn't be able to do this thing, so.
I also double checked it and all the names are spelled correctly, so that's good too. Let's see, finally, I want to turn it over to Mr. Bennett in just a second for a capital projects update. There he is. And he'll give us an update on how the roofs and all that are going. But before that, I know Mr. Vincent's not here, and I know we've already recognized everyone, but I did want to call out these two special recognition to our two board members who are also military veterans, Mr. Farrell Vincent, who's not here this evening, and Mr. Isaiah Davison. I just want to thank you both for your service to our country. We appreciate it immensely. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you on the board. Any questions for me before I turn this over to Brother Bennett? All right. Come on, man.
Congratulations on the last 3.5 years. Thank you. Now we got another 3.5, about another 3 years. It's going to be fun. And Extra 2 money, Extra 2 projects with the roofs, we have wrapped up successfully. With what I would consider minor glitches, as we run across deck repairs and whatnot. The guys handled those very well. So with next, we will be getting, actually Monday on the Extra 3 project, finishing up Wright Elementary. we've got a wing there that we'll finish up. And then we are in the midst of the logistic issues with materials, so I don't have an exact date as to when we will start our next big school, but we will, our goal is to start with CIAA, being our next large school, and as material begins to flow in, then we will put a schedule together accordingly as far as to where we tackle the remainder. And homeschool gym is on ESSER 3 projects. And so, after that, we'll be jumping into the bathroom renovation. I think the teachers are equally as excited about the bathroom projects as they were the roofs, and very much past due, to say the least. If you guys have visited the schools, it's going to be very much a challenge. We are going to try to tackle that to disrupt school as little as possible. We're going to try to hit those during our breaks, as many as we can get done this summer. We're going to start off, our plan is to start off at Covington High School and do a test run of 3 pairs. We'll have 6 bathrooms that we will roll out, try to find out as many kinks that we need to work out before we roll it out across the county. And that's going to be a fun challenge, to say the least. The HVAC portion of it will be coming on live soon. We will be updating Mumford Middle and Crestview Middle's chiller systems. And from those, I think those schools will see significant energy savings whenever they're able to get those automated systems up and running efficiently. But it's going to be a fun ride. And like I warned the principals at yesterday's meeting, get ready for pull out your patience, because it's going to be something that they've never experienced ever. So, thank you guys again for the opportunity. And do y'all have any questions for me?
I got a quick one on lights at baseball fields.
So lights at baseball fields are in the works. That is actually something that was supposed to have already begun, but due to material, we haven't. We're waiting to actually for them to secure the.
So our goal, our hope is to get them installed before season begins.
That's correct.
But we're at the mercy of
Yes,
material.
we are at the mercy of acquiring material for them, but yes, that is our goal, is to have those in before the season, before they need those.
We're waiting on football, the lights for the stadiums too. And everything we want on the stadiums, we want all of them done before graduation.
Yeah, that would be.
Lights
That
and
too.
turf and all that stuff,
Yeah.
so. And then, will you go over just real quick, so the bathroom renovations, the main components are floors,
So floors, new petitions, touch-free faucets at urinals, sinks, and toilets. We will be, the petitions will be, I didn't bring a sample, and I apologize, but I'll get you guys one. It will be what is marketed as a graffiti proof. I'm sure that someone will find a way to TikTok some kind of deal to make that challenge, but they're supposed to be a product that won't absorb, markers and things of that nature. But, and then removal of all the tile, and then it'll get ground down to a smooth surface, and then it'll be epoxy coated to where it won't absorb.
What about paper towel? They'll be touched.
Yes, we don't, it hasn't come, we've requested touchless, pretty much everything that we could possibly get. Of course, toilet paper dispensers will not be, soap dispensers will be, hands-free. I will confirm on that one, don't quote me on, I told them that we would need all of those, and whenever we met about that, I said, I'll touch-free as much as we can
I
possibly.
think I remember at the last meeting, you said they were going to pull out.
possibly.
Well,
if that's what we could
and
get.
that was, and guys, budgetary is where I think we'll have to round back and make that final decision on where that line item comes.
Well, one thing Hunter was reminding me of the other day, which I hadn't even thought about, I'm glad you're here, was, we're gonna have to add batteries to the budget. Because, with all this touchless stuff, it's gonna run on, it's gonna run on power. So, there'll be things that we have to change out occasionally. So there'll be a new stockpile for the maintenance department to change out when we need them.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, the guy, it's been a topic down there, like, you mean we're gonna change out batteries? I said, or do you wanna just go continue to change out the faucets? So they'll get over the batteries, we don't, trust me.
I have a suggestion on that, if you don't mind. It may already be too late in your budget to do this, but I do know they make power inverters that you can fish the wire down the wall and make them run off electricity, hardwired electricity instead of batteries. That might save you money.
Okay. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, that's something to look
Yeah,
into.
I'll inquire.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the
Save
suggestion.
some batteries.
Any other questions, guys?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Bennett.
Appreciate it.
All right. Dr. Bird, Director of Instruction Report.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Mine will be short tonight, I only have one thing. I'm going to recognize our Teacher of the Month. This month, the representative from American Fidelity, wasn't able to be here, so I told him I would make sure to give the presentation. So we have Miss Jody Lancaster. Miss Jody, if you'll come on up. Miss Jody is a teacher at Brighton Elementary. She teaches special ed CDC students, and she has taught at Brighton Elementary for 17 years. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has, time flies. And these are the words that her principal wrote about Miss Jody as she nominated her for this award. Jody Lancaster gives so much of herself as a special education teacher here at Brighton Elementary School, and she gives 1,000% to the students in her classroom. She's patient and loves them as if they were her own. She does not let their disability become a barrier and is continuously setting high expectations for each one of them. She works so hard in her daily lessons to expose them to the same type of activities happening in the regular ed classes. She is their biggest advocate for making sure they are given the same opportunities as all other students at BES, and we are so thankful for her passion. She is always willing to help in any way and is now acting as a mentor to other CDC teachers across the county. Ms. Jody is a valuable asset to BES, and now through mentoring is being recognized as an asset to Tipton County Schools. So we want to say congratulations to Ms. Jody, and she is so very deserving of this award. So thank you, Ms. Jody. I did tell her she could step out when we were finished with that. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless someone has a question for me.
Any questions? Thank you, Dr. Bird.
Thank you.
Dr. Fisher, Director of Operations.
I'm going to yield my time to
Okay.
Ms. Sherry for
Thank
public
you.
report, unless someone has questions for me. Good deal.
Good evening. I said, one of these days I'm gonna wanna come up here and talk to y'all about something besides COVID, I really do. We got a lot of school health stuff going on that I'd like you to know about, but I'm just gonna do the same routine, give you the numbers. Since last school board meeting, we've had a total, which they're on the website, you've probably been seeing them. And since the last meeting, we had 3 weeks of numbers, that's not including this week. We had 8 positives, 11, and then 10. So our numbers have gone down considerably from what we had in August and September. So we've been doing well with our positive numbers. With our testing for staff and teachers, we've tested 22 staff members since the last board meeting. And out of those 22, we've had 0 positives, and all been negative. So that's been a good thing. Most of those teachers get tested because they fear they may have been exposed or they hadn't been feeling well, so the school we're able to do those tests in the school for them. So, and they don't have, if they're negative, they don't have to leave the building, and stay. Just to let you know, this week, we have seen a little bit of an uptick with our numbers. After fall break and Halloween and a lot of gatherings like that, we've normally seen a little bit. So this week alone, we've already got 14 cases through today. So maybe tomorrow we'll have no more, but still it's very much down from what we've had in September and in August. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me regarding numbers or.
Changes to quarantine, is that coming through?
We'll have to see tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's.
Can you walk us through what that's gonna look like when he signs it? Or?
We briefly talked about it, but decided instead of putting something, until we saw exactly what he's gonna do, we didn't really wanna come up with a plan. More than likely, the quarantine and stuff is still gonna be under those CDC and health department guidelines, but as far as who determines who is quarantined, may come strictly from the Commissioner of Health. But we would follow whatever recommendations they give us.
And that'll be the biggest change is that
we don't make those calls, that'll all come through the commissioner. According to that legislation, it'll all come through the commissioner.
Oh, he'll tell you who to
They're
quarantine.
supposed to tell us all that stuff according to legislation.
Well, or tell us how to do the
Right.
quarantines, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
That'd be it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yarborough. Next item is financial report, Mr. Billy Doherty.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't put a time on Dr. Holmes, so I don't know what I'm working with here, so let's get started.
Keep it short.
We'll start first with the financial report, if you please. Starting with the revenues and expenditures across the four major budgets, starting with 141 for the month of October, a little over $7.8 million in revenues with $6.6 million in expenditures. On the 142 federal projects budget, a little over 1.5 million in revenues and a little over 1.4 million in expenditures. On the 143 central cafeteria fund, a little over $500,000 in revenue and just under $500,000 on expenditures. And finally, for the 177 capital projects, no activity for the month of October. Still anticipate having that budget exhausted by the end of the fiscal year.
Do we have a motion to approve the financial report as presented? Motion by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Farrell.
Right.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we could start, we have budget amendments in all three, with the 141, 142, and 143. Let's start with the 141 budget. You'll see top center of the page, it'll say 141 General Purpose School Fund. Just a couple of adjustments here. You go to the second page, there's some adjustments for personnel assignments. This particular one being a homebound teacher, we're taking funding out of the 71100 and essentially moving it down to the 71200 just to cover for a single homebound teacher. No change to fund balance. That's due to personnel assignments. The next set of changes is going to be in the 71200, I'm sorry, for the same thing as personnel adjustments, we're having to reimburse federal. Some of at the start of the year, there were some personnel changes where employees were in the federal budget to begin with, but it had to be moved to the general budget, so we're gonna transfer out money to compensate federal for their expenditures for the first part of their salary, to the tune of about $2,400. That's the figure you see there at the bottom of page 3. And those numbers are distributed out of the 71200 in all those small increments. And that is all the amendments that exist for the 141 General Purpose School Fund. There's no new revenues and there's really no change other than the transfer out for the 142.
Do we have a motion to approve the 141 amendments? Motion by Ms. Rozelle, second by Ms. McCarthy. Are there any questions about it? Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed.
If we may, let's get to the 143 central cafeteria budget, because the 142 is always a little more complicated.
Okay.
There is one activity here. We were awarded, the district was awarded through the USDA Department of Revenue, what they're calling the Pandemic Administrative Cost Grant. It's $5,814. You'll see it reflected there in the revenue, about mid-page, and it's going to be dispersed out through the food service line item for supplies and materials.
Do we have a motion to approve the 143 amendment? Motion by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Shipley. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move to the 142. And in keeping with our practice starting last meeting, I would like to take these up individually for these changes. The first change, if you'll notice, let's start at the top there on the revenue, $176,746.96. That is the remaining carryover for Title II. You know, we dealt with the majority of that carryover in the October meeting, but this is the remainder of that funding through Title II carryover for $176,746.96, the majority of which is dispersed in the 72-210 regular instruction.
Do we have a motion to approve this item? Motion. Motion by Mr. Shipley, second by Mr. Davidson. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next one I'd like to take up, you'll see there is a minus $140,000 and it's added again. That was a typing error in revenue codes where essentially that is part of the Title IV money that we moved in our consolidated carryover in October. It was assigned the wrong revenue code, so we're just putting it in the right place. There's really no change to the budget other than that movement.
Do we have a motion to approve this change?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Furr. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The third item in the 142 budget, you'll see an $80,000 revenue there under the COVID-19 Grant D. We have been named the recipient of another literacy grant for this year and next year. It's $80,000. The majority of that money, as you'll see, all of the money is expended out again in the 72-210 regular instruction program on contracted services.
Do we have a motion for this item? Motion by Mr. Farrell, second by Mr. Davidson. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The next to last change here, the $2,493.66. That's the transfer in out of the 141 that we just spoke about to correct the assignment errors for the federal assistance from the start of the school year. And that money you again will see is in the 71,200 from where it was taken from the other budget.
Do we have a motion for this item to be changed? Motion by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Joyner. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passed.
All right, and the last change that we have in the 142, if you'll go down about the two-thirds of the way on the front page under the 71,200, the special education budget, there were some revisions made to the IDEA budget to the tune of $5,300, and essentially there is no change to the funding. They're just moving money, intra-fund transfers to compensate for changes that were made in the revision. So it's $5,300, but as you notice, the only change in that budget is that $2,493 we made in the previous motion change. The $5,300 is a wash, so to speak.
Those in, do we have a motion for this item to be changed? A motion by Mr. Shipley, second by Mr. McClurkin. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passed.
And the last item that I have are the three remaining school budgets that were submitted from Jones Elementary, Brighton High, and Mumford High for your review and acceptance.
Do we have a motion to approve the school budgets that have been presented here? Motion by Mr. Joyner, second by Mr. Farrell. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have unless you all have questions.
Good budget. Good finance report.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That be Dr. Combstown?
Yes, sir.
No, you didn't.
Might have to have a replay on that together.
Is there any other business that we have? We have a TSBA conference coming up starting Thursday. Leadership conference starts at 12 or about 1 o'clock, I think.
I think 2 is the first one, but then it'd be the.
Oh, 2 o'clock, okay, yeah. Look forward to seeing the ones that are going there, and wish everybody could go, but sometimes you just can't do it. I mean, hey, but we are looking forward to a good conference this time. And, does anybody else have anything? Dr. Cole, you have anything there?
I'm good.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Joyner,